We're ready to roll. Let's see here.
Hey, Lisa.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the July 14th meeting of the Statesville City Council, and you have already risen for the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Emily?
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we pray for our city council tonight. Please give them wisdom and understanding as they make decisions that affect our city. Help them work together with respect and kindness, always thinking of what's best for the people we serve. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated.
Hey, how you doing? This seat high enough. I know somebody's been messing with me. No, you know that's...
Seeing everybody stand up, Teresa and I attended a funeral today in Salisbury, and I guess I can speak because I'm speaking about myself too. I would say, except for the grandchildren of the decedent, everybody in there was around my age or older. So you know how in most situations like that, like here, the presiding officer will say, if you're able, please stand. We went through the whole service and they didn't ask us to stand a single time because I guess they figured half of us were too old to stand up anyway. I don't know. So, but welcome tonight. We have one change to our agenda, and we kind of discussed this at the pre-agenda, but we didn't know what the outcome would be. But item B is going to be postponed until October the 20th.
That be.
And I think everything else is as scheduled. So if there's a motion to adopt the agenda, I would appreciate that.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Our code of ethics is behind tab 5 and our front and center strategic plan. Item 6, I do have, I think I'll start with Nikayla. Nikayla, are you or Chief Only going to introduce, please, our junior ambassador and tell us about that, please?
Good evening, Council and Mayor. I want to introduce to you all an amazing group of young people. These are our Southside Junior Ambassadors. We are so excited because we were able to employ 5 young people this school year or this 2025 year. We're excited about the great work that they're going to do. I'm not going to talk because they have come up with a speech, so they're going to introduce themselves to you.
Hi, good evening, Mayor Cute, fellow council members, and community leaders. Thank you on behalf of the Junior Ambassadors for the opportunity to be here this evening. We are honored to represent a program that has allowed us to take initiative and be young leaders in service of our city. As Junior Police Ambassadors, we have dedicated ourselves to learning the importance of civic duty, leadership, and community engagement. This program has opened our eyes to the significance of law enforcement and public service, but more importantly, it challenged us to take action and make a difference in the lives of others. This summer, our team has focused on addressing one of our community's most pressing challenges, homelessness. We have started supplying meals, and through our community project, we are in the process of organizing a clothing drive and assembling hygiene bags to distribute to those in need. These efforts are more than acts of kindness. They are steps toward restoring dignity, providing hope, and reminding others that they are not forgotten. We value the importance of leading by example, which is why we've set the bar high, not just for ourselves, but for the ambassadors who will follow in our footsteps. We want to be remembered as a team that didn't just wear the title, but we wear it with purpose, compassion, and determination. Thank you again for your ongoing support of the Junior Police Ambassador Program, and special thanks to Chief Only for making this opportunity possible. We are proud to serve a city that believes in its youth, and we are even more proud to give back to a community that raised us. Thank you.
just a little note, you'll be seeing them around the community. We'll be at a lot of community events, so encourage them and keep pushing them forward because they're doing great work.
I'm excited to say, I want to thank each and every one of you. And guys, this is what our South Statesville looks like. I think a lot of times people think South Statesville and they think a certain demographic or people are going to look a certain way, but this is what our Statesville High School and this is what our South Statesville looks like. Thank you, guys.
To add to that, I want to add to that, seeing them working and knowing that this is very important to our city for that diversity. I am so grateful in being a representative of Ward 3 to see the diversity and your work and your labor. You're going to change minds and hearts, your beautiful smile, and the work that you're doing. You're going to let people see in your age that they can do anything that's possible. They could be sitting in this seat one day, even the mayor's seat, all of our seats. And because of you and because of Chief Oley giving our youth an opportunity, Ward 3 has been challenged in so many ways. So audience out here and the public, I want you to see what great work do when you work together. God bless you and thank you for your efforts.
Go Hounds.
That's all I'm going to say.
In addition to what Kim and Doris said, their resumes are pretty impressive.
Yes.
They're athletes, they're cheerleaders, they're excellent scholars, they're community servants. So, like Lisa said, go Greyhounds. That's right.
That's all that matters.
Oh, I forgot. One of them goes to West. Sorry about that.
Huh?
Sorry about that. One of them goes to West.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's call them back in here then. No, that's great. Thank you very much. Nikayla left too, but Chief Only, appreciate you and your team for putting this together. This is a great opportunity for all of us. I want to recognize Parks and Recreation Month. I saw H. Is it H here? Who's here? Oh, yeah, H. Y'all come on up. Month of July 2025. You get the whole month.
That's right.
Everybody else just gets a day or a week. You all get the whole month. Let me share this with the gang here. Whereas Parks and Recreation is an integral part of communities throughout the country, including the city of Statesville, and whereas Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks, whereas it promotes time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being, and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorders, and Alzheimer's. Whereas it encourages physical activities by providing space for popular sports, hiking trails, pools, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles. And where it increases a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. Whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. Whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month. We'll do it in spite of that. The City of Statesville recognizes the benefits of parks and recreation resources. Now, I, Constantine H. Cute, Mayor of Statesville, am proud to recognize that we will proclaim July as
I can be that person. Our fearless leader is. No, we're honored to be up here. We do only have a handful of representative of our department here, but I think that I can speak for all of us. We do love working for the city of Statesville, and we appreciate the opportunity that we have to make Statesville a better place to recreate and to gather. Thank you from all of us and our team that couldn't be here.
think folks assume the easy part, that they have the recreation center and our community centers around the town, but they're also responsible for all the cemeteries, all the other parks, all the mowing around the interstates and all that. And now, just because they didn't have enough to do, the manager has put the Civic Center under Recreation and Parks. So they've got a big job. They're not the only ones with a big job in the city of Statesville, but they have a big job and they do it well. And I'm proud of them, which leads me into the next phase, which is a day of great pride for certain members of our staff. I think we all appreciate, but maybe not as frequently as we should, the great job that our entire 550 folks in our general fund departments and our enterprise fund departments do in running the city. But today I have the privilege of recognizing three of them. First is Cynthia Dunford, who as of last week was promoted to Assistant Director of Finance. Cynthia has been with us a while and had a yeoman's year last year. You'll remember we had the tragic death of our new Assistant Finance Director after only a couple months on the job. And then we lost our Finance Director, and it was budget time. And Cynthia stepped up and showed how much she knows about the entire operation. She's had an opportunity through her career to basically do everything in the department, and she absorbed all that knowledge. So it's with great pride that I want to just confirm and recognize her on, I guess, a week after that announcement. So Cynthia, we're proud of you. Let's give her a big hand. Stand up. And next is our man, Vinny Francica, who sits in the, he's coming out to the, he said he couldn't come far because he's got the cameras on us tonight. But Vinny, I need to look it up. He just completed a 240-hour training course. Let me tell you exactly. It's called the UNC School of Government Certified Government Chief Information Officers Program. I think I recall from reading that only 60 people completed that course this time. So it's a really, and that's not just in North Carolina, that's around the country, I believe, that came to UNC Chapel Hill for that purpose. So we're proud of you. He's our Assistant IT Director and has spent a lot of his last few months, and I'm sure if it's 240 hours of classroom experience, there's probably another 2,400 hours of out-of-classroom experience. So we really appreciate that, and we thank you for your service. I know Nikki and the rest of the team appreciate your efforts as well. So let's give Vinny a round of applause. I guess we could do this every meeting to have people on our staff who've done that. So I don't mean in any way to overlook others. Third, we learned today that Cody Lease, our young and aspiring electric utilities director, will be receiving a very major award at this year's annual conference of Electricities. That will be announced, I forget what the dates are, but it'll be the Tuesday, that would be the 10th, 11th, or 12th of August, whatever that date is. And so after that, we'll have big news and we'll be able to share exactly what that award is, but we've just been notified that he was the recipient of one of there are only a couple of prestigious awards that they give to individuals, and he'll be the recipient of one of those. So Cody, stand up and let these folks recognize you. While I'm on a roll, our police department, our fire department, our recreation department, and I guess anybody else who else is asked, anytime there's a community event, they're there.
That's right.
There was a big event Saturday at the Boys and Girls Club complex. It was outstanding. And our PD and fire department and recreation and parks and probably others that I can't remember were all there. It was a fun day for the kids. It was a fun day for the adults. A lot of our community partners were there, Grilling for God, Foundation for Hope Ministries, just a lot of community partners, the hospital, And so I just wanted to give a shout out to them. I think they do it very graciously and generously and with the smiles on their faces, so to speak. But it was pretty darn hot Saturday, and I appreciate what you all did, and thank you very much for your service to our citizens and to our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
At our second meeting of the month, or in this case, a month where we only have one meeting, we have a time for public comment. No one signed up on that sheet, so if there's anyone who came to speak during the public comment period, we'll hear you now. There are some people that signed up for public hearings on other matters, but if there's no comment on that, then we'll move forward with our consent agenda. Item A is to consider approving the June 12th pre-agenda meeting minutes and the June 16th regular meeting minutes. As we said earlier, B is postponed until October 20th. Item C is to consider the second reading of TA 25-02, which deals with shopping center signs. Item D is to approve the budget amendment for the water line replacement project additive bid. Item E is to consider approving budget amendment 26-02, which moves funds for the design of phases 3 and 4 of the Municipal Operations Center to the MOC Project Fund. A reminder again to council that Wednesday at 10 o'clock, we'll have a ribbon cutting of the first two facilities. They're magnificent, and I encourage everybody from the public who's able and council to please attend if you can. Item F is to consider approving an additional officer requested by Iredell Statesville Schools for a new SRO position. What that is NB Mills and Third Creek, we're sharing one, and Dr. James has requested that we provide one for each school, and the way that works is the schools provide the funding for the 10 months of the school year, and the city provides the funding for that position. And I think, Chief, we buy the uniforms and all the swag's on us, and the 10/12 of the month of the salary and benefits are on them, and 2/12 on us. Next is to consider approving a resolution in support of federal funding for Head Start and for iCare. H is to consider approving a resolution authorizing the donation of a surplus Plymouth exhaust removal system to the Iredell Statesville Schools. I is to consider approving utility line construction services as the primary contractor and Sumter Utilities as the secondary contractor for a purchase order of amount of $1.5 million for a minimum of 2 of 5 possible years of their contract term. Item J is to consider approving the semi-annual write-off of approximately $87,354.74 in utility bills during that same period of time. This is for the period of July 1, 2023 through December 31, 2023. The billings for that period were $32.8 million. So the write-off percentage is 0.27 of 1%. And during that same period of time that the bad debts were $87,000, we collected over $14,000 from people who had been written off previously but paid their bills. So while it is a large number, it's a very, very small percentage of the collection. So that's to the credit of our staff and employees in ensuring that the people that incur bills pay those bills. And finally, on the consent agenda is to consider approving a resolution assigning the previous West Iredell Water Corporation agreement to Energy United Water Corporation, and to authorize the city manager to establish a new water allocation and rate with Energy United Water Corporation. Energy United Water Corporation just recently purchased West Iredell, so we're simply continuing the contractual arrangement that we had with them until it expires, and allowing Mr. Smith to negotiate with them for the prospective term. Any items on the consent agenda which need to be removed? If not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. The first item on the regular agenda is to conduct a public hearing and consider approving an economic incentive for an expansion project known as Project ACE 25. Mr. Goodson.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'm here, my name is Craig Goodson. I'm here with the Iredell EDC, and we're here to request economic development incentive for Cook's Custom Headers located in Salem in the Statesville Business Park. They are, due to increased business on their car side and some other products they are starting to manufacture, they are considering a 90,000 square foot expansion of their current facility. They're going to be relocating some equipment for automotive. They're going to be redoing some of their existing facility to actually do the chassis for solar panels, the ones that move back and forth. They've got a contract for that. So with that, they need to expand, and they would like to stay in Statesville. The total investment of the project would be $7,400,000. They want to be able to complete the construction and be operational by December 31st, 2007. They will add a minimum of 10 new full-time jobs at an average wage of $66,100. We are requesting a grant that would be for a term of 5 years, that the total would not exceed $149,167, which would be an average of $29,833 a month. Appreciate your consideration and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Are any questions before we conduct the public hearing? If not, I'll open the public hearing and ask if anyone came to speak regarding this incentive request. Just for the knowledge of those that may not know, the way this works is it's based on an increase in the ad valorem property taxes. So we don't stroke a check to anybody. They have to earn it, and then after they pay their taxes, then I think sometimes abate is not the correct word, but we rebate or remit to them the agreed upon percentage. So it works to our advantage, and it particularly works to our advantage once the incentive period expires, and then we get to keep 100% of the ad valorem property tax. All right, if no one came to speak, then I'm going to close the public hearing and ask council if there's a motion to approve. Is this just a one reading? One reading, okay. To approve this economic incentive.
So move.
I move we approve the economic
Motion by
incentive.
Mr. Hudson, second by Ms. Allison. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Next item is to conduct a public hearing and to consider approving first reading of the proposed text amendment by Downtown Statesville Development Corporation to allow drinking establishments in the Central Business Zoning District. Mr. Kirkendall.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. So as stated, this is a text amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance. It's requested by the SDC in partnership with the city, since they're one of us now. Several businesses have expressed interest in serving alcohol. So currently, the UDC only allows drinking establishments if you're a restaurant, or an eating establishment rather. So you can't serve alcohol downtown unless you're a restaurant. If this amendment were to pass, it would allow businesses to serve alcohol as a principal or secondary use in this zoning district. For example, an event center, a bar, an arcade, a nail salon, a law office, however you'd like to see fit. So it would only affect the CB zoning district, which is outlined in this dark black line here. And I want to point out in the green, just on the periphery of that, that is the CBP, and drinking establishments are permitted by right, closer to the residential districts outside downtown. Currently, we do have several similar uses, which is like an alcohol beverage store, a brew pad, a micro distillery, or a brewery. And of course, back in 2021 or 2, y'all voted for the establishment of the Ville, which is the downtown social district. So in our research on this, we did do some investigation of other neighboring cities and towns, and all of them allowed drinking establishments, most of them by right, in their downtown or a bar. And so there's that. The DSDC did unanimously recommend approval at their May board meeting. And so here is how it would be. It's just a simple check mark there, which would allow it in the CB district in our use table. And therefore, staff does recommend approval of the text amendment as proposed.
Thank you. And I think you indicated that anywhere else in the city except in the central business district, you can do this already.
In almost all of the business zone districts, correct.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Kirkendall before I conduct the public hearing?
I have a question. Could you bring up that map again? I just want to see something.
Absolutely.
So the map that you're showing, how far down? I'm trying to see. I guess my question is, if you have, we're trying to build up the south end of Center Street. If we have businesses that are coming in, is this map, can it be expanded? Are you willing to go outside of these barriers?
So this has no bearing on that. So in the green, so this is, I think that's Sharp.
Right, Court Street.
Yeah,
This is
Court
where
Street.
we're at.
Yeah, so this right here is Sharp. You can put a bar right here in this green right now as it sits. Oh, so Highway 115, it's permitted by right along that zoning district
I'm
as well.
basically talking about Depot Hill, because we have some areas up there. We have people that are looking at businesses, and we have a mini strip mall. So I guess my question is, if
Depot?
you have businesses that are trying to come in, does that pink area, is it willing to be expanded, or is it just set for that?
So drinking establishments are allowed in almost all the other districts, all the other business zone districts.
Okay.
It's not allowed in this red. So we're only talking about changing it to allow them in the red. They're already allowed elsewhere.
Places outside of the pink have a right or an opportunity that people inside the pink don't have right now. So it already applies outside of the pink area in virtually every business district.
How do we change that? How do we change the setting where they're on the outside, so they can be qualified or certified too if a business come in that area?
You'd have to rezone it to where it's allowed, or you'd have to pass this text amendment.
Right now, but what we're doing that tonight. We're the only place where it's not allowed. If we pass this, it will be allowed.
Okay,
Okay?
That makes sense.
Isn't that correct?
Okay, great.
All right, everybody okay? All right, let's conduct a public hearing, then we can have more discussion. All right, anybody come to speak regarding this? Matthew?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. On behalf of Downtown Statesville Development Corporation, I'd like to speak to the reason that they gave it their unanimous vote of approval. So DSDC is the city's partner for economic development in the downtown business district. We support this as an economic development tool here in the heart of our community. In the past year, DSDC has had conversations with businesses that are growing throughout the region, right? Second and third locations, and have looked here. But because of this rule in these 6-ish blocks downtown, we couldn't have someone like a Murdo Maid or other distilleries come into our community. So one of the reasons we want this is to be able to recruit businesses that are showing up in other communities throughout this region, right? That are adding to the diversity and therefore the vitality of the downtowns. So one, we want businesses that are primarily drinking establishments to be able to come in as they have successfully in other communities just like ours. The other is this category of the businesses that are primarily something else. The way our code is written, you could have a business that is primarily one thing as a use, but also have this secondary use. And so you could be a gift shop, you could be an event center like the Essence on Broad, you could be a place that sells wine by the bottle for off-site consumption, or a bike shop, right? You could be primarily something else and also have, as a secondary use, because of the way our code is written, serve alcohol on site. So it makes you both this like business plus like gift shop plus bar, right? The reason this has come to us, right? The reason that these businesses, and we have several of them downtown, they employ 14 people. Part of the reason that this is coming to council is that another business came to the city and said, we would like to do this thing that you are already doing. If you didn't know you were already doing it, it's because they're successful businesses that aren't causing any problems, right? And they came to planning, and planning said, oh wait, as we read this, we don't allow this, right? What that does is two things. One, it means that I am unable to recruit, as the director of DSDC, businesses like those that are primarily one thing, but also want to be able to serve alcohol for on-site consumption. Also, and more importantly, for economic development, because it's not just about recruitment, it's about keeping the businesses you have and giving them what they need to thrive, right? This provides the businesses that are currently doing this, like Wine Maestro, like Bee & Barrel, others, right? The security they need to continue to invest. No business should have to worry that a change in city administration or leadership is going to suddenly change the ruling on whether or not this particular rule is going to be enforced. So they've asked it in part to provide the business security to continue investing like so many of them have. So this is the next step, right, with regard to our downtown and these drinks. And to be short, it's just the next step. It's the next incremental step in our community. We went from a dry downtown, these 6-ish blocks, to Friday after 5, right, which brings thousands of people downtown several times a year, right, where there's drinking and no bedlam. DSDC came to council a couple of years ago and said, look, across the state, we have these small-scale manufacturers that are doing beer, distilled liquors, and other stuff. Can we approve microbreweries, microdistilleries, and things like that? Yeah, you can, and we've done it, and we've got businesses with 6+ years running successfully off that. And then the social district, which, despite the predictions of some, didn't result in anything particularly negative, right? It's a fantastic tool for us, right? So this is the next step. Next step that has the approval, or the seal of approval of the police department, right? And the whole board of DSDC. So I want to thank, for those of you who are here to support this tonight, folks in the chamber and others, would you guys please stand up? Thank you, guys. Thank you. So that's why this has their approval. I thank you for your time, and I'm open to any questions you guys have.
I do have a question.
Ma'am.
What is the restriction for businesses that qualifies them to be able? Anybody can write ask for a permit. Say the store, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, charge it to me. The CBD, is that right? Is that what they call them, stores that set up on the corner?
CBD store, yes.
Yeah, them bike shops, okay.
Sure.
If they're downtown, would stores like that be allowed to also have that same privilege of applying for alcohol?
So if I'm correct, we don't allow CBD stores in the Central Business District, which means that this is a separate issue altogether, right? Right. As of now, you don't allow CBD stores down here, right? So it's sort of moot. I don't know, and I don't know any of us know what the state regulations would be about CBD being served on site with alcohol consumption. That's a separate question. I'm at least not familiar.
I think what we're saying is there has been an impediment for some types of organizations from selling alcoholic beverages if they didn't have a food component to their business.
Food, okay.
And all this is saying, because I think we've talked about this before, but the ABC, North Carolina ABC Commission, has a role in this too. This is just what we're saying it's okay, but the proprietor of that business still has to be able to secure a permit to serve alcohol from the state of North Carolina, which is beyond our, so I think what Matthew was saying is if it's a type of business that the state says, yeah, you don't sell food, but you have a type of business that we don't think it's consistent to sell alcohol, then they can make that decision. But for the most part, most of what we have downtown now could, as an ancillary operation, if this is, or when this, if it, or when this is approved, serve alcoholic beverages. But they'd still have to get a permit to do that from the ABC. So it's not just once we approve this, you go in and buy a bunch of beer and start selling beer out of your, law office, like he said. So you still have, but you wouldn't, but there's this kind of tenuous situation where right now it's kind of iffy whether you have to have food or not. And what this is saying, we're going to take away the requirement from the local standpoint that you have to serve food to be able to serve alcohol. If we pass this, you will not have to serve food to be able to serve alcohol if you can get the permits from the state.
If you can get it from the state makes the final decision.
Yeah, we don't have any control over who gets an ABC
I just want
permit.
somebody to have the final decision.
Okay.
I'm not condoning anything, but there's some accounting offices down there, having paid estimated tax for a year, go to your accountant and find out that the government's not satisfied, you have substantial more money, you might find the service of an alcoholic beverage at that point to be somewhat comforting.
As long as the state do it, I'm good.
Not
All right. did I open the public
advertising
hearing?
anybody.
All right, I'm going to declare, I think I declared the
Occasionally I
public
have
hearing. Yeah,
found
anybody else?
myself in that position.
Anybody else? Matthew spoke for the group. All right, close the public hearing. Any discussion from council? Is there a motion? This is the first of two readings. Second reading would be at our first meeting in August. Is there a motion to approve first reading?
I'd make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Second?
I'll second it, but I do have one
Yeah, go ahead.
discussion comment. So I spoke about this in the pre-agenda meeting with Matthew, that a concern I have, if we do have bars and they're successful, and I'm sure they will be, is trash and how trash is disposed of and where the trash dispensers, the cans, cardboard recycling, and the frequency of pickup. A bar will probably generate more trash than one bin. And I know we have several restaurants in Statesville in the downtown district. Some of them have sealed containers hidden, and some are not, and some are on city parking spaces. So we don't have the same standard. So I highly recommend that DSTC take a look at that, as this is going to be a byproduct of hopefully success, and I'm sure it will be, but we need to talk about dispensers, trash frequency pickup, and alleys, and how that's all handled. We need to make sure that we're treating all operators the same.
And,
Could I accept that as a friendly amendment to my motion and include that?
yeah. To look at that, maybe you can think about that prior to the next, to the second reading.
I have a question too, Costi. So with if this is approved, will they then be added to the social district downtown?
They're already, well, that's a individual decision, right? You can, if you don't want anybody to bring alcoholic beverages into your building, you can opt out of the social district. So if that accountant, if you hadn't paid your estimated taxes and you decided you'd take your own beverage into the accountant's office, he can decline you from bringing it in if he would like, or she.
Didn't mean to drag accountants into this, I'm sorry.
Well, you can already do it at your place, so we can't beat up on the auto.
Depends on
parts
what
stores.
time of day you're right.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion? If not, we'll all in favor of passing first reading with the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Next item is to conduct a public hearing, and if some of y'all want to leave, we're not, that'd be okay. We'll give you a second to do that. Some of your candidates may want to stay a while and get the flavor of what it's like to be up here on a Monday evening, you know, and that's all right, the next item is to conduct a public hearing and consider passing first reading of an ordinance AX 26-04, which is to annex 4 parcels located along Turnersburg Highway between Harbor Freight and Fairview Baptist Church. Mr. Kirkendall.
Thank you again. All right, so as stated, AX 2504, it is, Dario is filing this annexation on behalf of the property owners. It's currently within the ETJ. There are 4 parcels, and it's just over 2.1 acres. So current tax value is $70,000. At full build out of the restaurant, you're talking around $3 million. As you can see, the current aerial, that house that was there has been torn down by DOT, and the rest is a wooded site. Here is looking into Harbor Drive, looking northwest at the site. So utilities, Statesville Public Power does have the, or can serve rather. City of Statesville would provide sewer. Fourth Creek is at 71%, and this is in the Iredell water territory. So here is the proposed site plan. So they are accommodating for the DOT right away. And then this is Elmridge Drive, which will be improved, and that is the entrance into the church. And then on this side, that is Harbor Drive, which is existing. And then there is a rear kind of access road alley behind the. So with that being said, staff recommendation, it has been the policy of the city to annex properties that are in close proximity to existing city services. This is within the Tier 1 growth area of the 2045 Land Development Plan, and therefore staff recommends passing the first reading of this request. I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions before I conduct the public hearing? If not, I'll declare the public hearing open and ask if anyone came to speak regarding this request. If not, I'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion to pass first reading of this annexation ordinance AX 25-04?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? If not, will all in favor please say aye? Aye. Or any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And Madam Clerk, remember that we will want to postpone this one. This is the sister of the one that we postponed till October 20th. So when it comes on for second reading, we will do that at that time. Thank you. Next is to conduct, number 12 is to conduct a public hearing and consider passing first reading of rezoning request ZC 25-11 for the Oaks at James Farm, property located at the intersection of James Sowers and James Farm Road, to be rezoned from Iredell County R20 to City of Statesville R5 MFCZ, which is high-density multifamily residential conditional zoning district. Mr. Calder.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. This rezoning application is brought to us by Christopher Lamack of Elevation Properties. And as you can see there, it's the site consists of a little over 16 acres. And it's at the intersection of James Farm Road and James Sowers Road. And this is your property right here in the hash mark. As with conditional rezoning requests, this project will be tied to the concept plan and the conditions. Your utilities are provided as follows. The water would be provided by Iredell Water Corporation. Sewer would be provided by the City of Statesville. electricity by Duke Power. This is a site photo taken from James Sowers Road looking toward the property right there at the intersection. Here we have an aerial map showing the property outlined in blue. And north of the site, you can see that we have some Iredell County R20 zoning district there with vacant land and a few single-family housing. East of the site is Iredell County R20 with a 19-acre single-family farm, and then, of course, you have the Interstate 77 over there. South of the site, you'll have R5 multifamily for the city of Statesville, and that includes the Redwood Townhome development. So what we're looking at is right here. And that project is also going to be townhomes. They'll be for rent. Hasn't taken off yet out of the ground, but they've done a little bit of grading work. In addition to that, if you look west of the site, you'll see City of Statesville R10, which is low-density residential, and they have the old Statesville right here subdivision with the R5CZ right here being the Sullivan Farms development. Excuse me. So there's something just a little unique about this project. They are coming in requesting an R5 zoning designation, but for the most part, everything they do is going to be R8 or even less dense than that. The only reason they've requested R5 is because their townhome product needs to have a 20-foot wide lot width. The only district we have that offers that is R5. So what we've done is said, okay, apply for R5. We're putting in a condition that everything else goes by R8. So if you look at our comparisons here, the lot size for an R8 MF district, multifamily district, is 2,000 square feet. This site's going to have 2,200 square feet. The density for the most density you could have, maximum density for an R8 multifamily would be 9 dwelling units per acre. This is going to have 7.04 dwelling units per acre, so it's less dense than an R8. Also, you'll see that the open space, they're providing much more open space than they have to as well. And at the bottom, you'll see if they were to go by R5, the density they could have, of course, with a special use permit or conditional zoning, would be 20 dwelling units per acre. But again, they're going to stick with the 7.04. This is the site, the concept plan. And what you have here, on the bottom, you have the James Farm Road, and you have an entrance coming off of it. Over here is James Sowers, and you'll have an entrance up at the top there. This is going to be a nice green space area. There will be Iredell Water Company has reserved the right to put a well in this area for future use. You're going to have what he's showing here is 104 townhomes. And as you can see, you really can't fit any more than that on there. So your density's going to be 104 units. And this is the rendering that he has given us. Shows what the townhomes should look similar to. You're going to have a mixture of building products, garages. You'll have the shared driveways up front because these are not served by alleyways. And you'll have some offsets and roof pitches with gables and things like that and porches. The 2045 land development plan calls for this to be a complete neighborhood 2 area, which it does meet that definition. And it's also located in a tier 2 growth area. I'll just briefly touch on these conditions. Number one is the condition I was telling you about with the density. This development shall meet all requirements under the R8 multifamily zoning classification except the minimum lot width, which shall be 20 feet. And then number 2, James Farm Road and James Sowers Road frontage shall include curb, guttering, sidewalk, and a minimum 8-foot street yard, including required street trees and landscaping. Number 3, in condition 2, you've got that landscaping that's required, but we've asked them, as a concern that council has experienced in the past, we want them to add enhanced landscaping along James Farm Road and James Sowers Road to screen the backs of these units from the road view. Also, at number 4, the proposed stormwater pond shall be landscaped and fenced. The tree species that will be up next to the buildings will be small canopy. That's something the fire department's requested in the past, so they can get their apparatuses in there better. Number 6, the developer shall have a TIA, transportation improvement plans. Number 7, developer shall reserve 55 feet from center line a right-of-way along James Sowers Road for DOT dedication, and along James Farm Road would be 40 feet from center line. Number 8, of course, is your mixture of building materials. Number 9 is basically they're going to construct a 4-foot high decorative fence around the stormwater pond. And then number 10, the developer is going to provide enhanced landscaping at the entrances. 11, they're going to have an HOA, provide us with the documents. 12, we've asked them to provide a stub street that is paved with curb and guttering to the property to the north. And then 13, again, HOA will be responsible for all the common areas, the storm ponds, the open space, the trees, street trees, and so forth. Their number 14, their unit range, we require them to give is going to be 104 to 112. But as you've seen, getting any more than 104 units on that property is going to be a challenge. Number 15, the developer shall dedicate 55-foot public right-of-way at the back of the property there that goes to the Redwood development, connecting those properties. So your 2045 development plan projects this property to be a complete neighborhood 2, and it's in the Tier 2 growth area. Something unique about this property, though, is that it's also in a James Sowers North strategic focus area, as stipulated by the land development plan. Complete neighborhood 2 includes various forms of housing types, including townhomes, and we feel like this development does meet the definition of everything required there. Staff recommendation looked at the 2045 land development plan as it projects the property suitable for everything we've talked about, being the complete neighborhood 2, the Tier 2 growth, and the James Sowers North strategic focus area. And with this under consideration, we feel like this request should be approved, and that's what our recommendation would be. I would be happy to answer any questions at this time.
I have a question. Would they be allowed to have guests, when the guests come, would they be able to park on the side, curb parking? I see the cars in the driveway, but you didn't make mention of anything as far as extra cars that a person may have in their home. So how many cars would be allowed?
Well, our ordinance just requires enough parking for 2 cars per unit is all we can require, and they do have that. As far as parking on the sides of the streets, I do think that is allowed.
I have a question. I'm going through and just looking over the information that you've given. I guess my concern is the traffic.
Yeah.
A lot of the residents had issues with the traffic. So have you guys discussed that? Is that something being looked into
Yeah, it is. We're going to require a TIA through DOT with this. So they'll look at each intersection and each road. They'll look to see if there's any signals warranted or turn lanes or escalation lanes and things like that. But we are requiring that.
Mr. Calder, if I approach this neighborhood, how would I gain access to it? It looks like you talked about stubbing the road off to the south. Looks like I could enter that way and I could enter from James Sires Road. Would those be the two
That's right.
access points?
Yeah, up here, this is James Farm Road.
That's what I meant, I'm sorry. James
So
Farm.
right there in the middle, you're going to have an entrance and ingress and egress point. And then over here is James Sowers Road. And at the north tip of the property, you'll have another one.
Okay.
Now, here's the stub I was talking about going to the north property. They'll pave this and leave it a dead end there so that if future development comes up above, we can tie it in. And then over here's the 55-foot right-of-way that's going to be reserved in case we ever want to tie into Redwood.
Yes, sir.
How many houses is that? With
That's
those-
104 units.
All right, I'm going to open the public hearing, and we do have a couple people signed up to speak. First is Chris Lamack.
Hello, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Chris Lamack with Elevation Real Estate Group, and we're proposing this development. I want to focus real quick because I know a question came up about the traffic, which is obviously a concern in a lot of areas. A couple of things that we've looked at. Number one, this is one of the very few neighborhoods along James Farm Road that has access to two different streets, James Sowers and James Farm, which is going to help alleviate some of the James Farm concerns. Number two, another issue related to traffic that was brought up during the community meeting is the speed limit on James Farm Road. At this point, that section of James Farm has become a residential district, along with the elementary school, obviously, and the speed limit is 45 miles per hour. And when you turn onto James Farm to go towards 21, the speed limit is 35 miles an hour. So we've taken that conversation to heart, and we've spearheaded reaching out to NCDOT to try to see if we can get that speed limit lowered. A couple things we've done. We've sent a letter to all the neighbors that we invited to the original community meeting, and we've set up a website where they can sign a petition. And I could share that petition with the council. I'd be happy to have your names on it as well. Because our thought is the more that we can show DOT that something needs to be done here, the more likely it is to happen. I have reached out to Statesville Police Department, and Chief Onley has graciously provided us his support. We're also reaching out to the Sheriff's Office as well. So our plan is to get as many names as we can on the petition, submit that to NCDOT. And as Herman said, we are required to do a TIA as well as far as the traffic numbers. A couple things that I wanted to point out real quick. Number one, on the left side of the site plan or the north side of the site, that open space right now has a number of trees that are probably 100 to 150 plus years old. And our intention is to leave those trees as they are today. There's obviously a lot of brush along the road front that needs to be cleaned up, and our landscape buffer will have to go in. Another thing that we've done here, even though we're doing the enhanced landscape buffer along James Farm Road, and those units do back up to James Farm Road, your rear setback is 35 feet. Based on the configuration of this property, the closest unit to James Farm Road will be 100 feet from the edge of the pavement, because we've been able to create some open space there and walkway around there as well. Real quick to the request for the R5MF, just doing some quick calculations, that would technically allow 195 units. We're asking for 104, no more than 112, although I don't think we're going to get there, as Herman said, anyway. And even the R8MF, we could do 132, and we're still asking for much less than that. And the main reason, again, is the width of the units. In the world of the townhome units, narrower units are going to help in a number of ways. Number one, they take up less space. Number two is the cost aspect of it. So that's why we requested the R5MF. That's the only reason we requested it. And one thing I wanted to point out is, right now, we would have to annex this property if the rezoning is approved. There was a previous developer that had proposed to the county 17 single-family detached units on this property, which would obviously mean there's no contribution to the city in the form of taxes, and those units are probably $500,000 to $800,000. So what we're proposing here is much more manageable. First-time buyers, elderly, workforce. So by presenting this, we feel that, especially with the blend down James Farm Road now, we feel that this is a good addition to this area that has seen some tremendous growth in the past several years. With that said, I'll open up for any questions that you have for us.
Thank you. And I think I'll mention before we ask questions, neither you nor Mr. Calder mentioned it, but I believe the petition for annexation of this property is in process also, so that it'll follow hand in hand. If the rezoning is passed, then the annexation will be right in place as well.
And actually, I reached out, Matt's gone now, but I reached out for the deadline on the petition, and it's this Friday. So our plan is to get that petition in for annexation by the deadline.
All right, let me get the other speaker, and then we'll reserve the right to ask questions to you and others. Lydia Mayberry, would you like to speak? Okay. And some of these people are here regularly, so we know who they are, but if you'll give your name and your address, please, for the record, we'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. My name is Lydia Mayberry, and I reside with my husband on James Farm Road. We've lived there a long time, since 1987, prior to Walmart being built. The cow pasture that he is referring to is beautiful. It's beautiful. There's a lot of serenity. The cows are in the back now. So we can't see them. The cornfields are gone now because of all the developments that are currently being built. There are lots of deer that are no longer there. The wildlife has gone except for the skunks. But it is hard. Growth is very difficult, and not just for us, but for our neighbors too. I'm not sure if I don't see our immediate neighbors here tonight, but we appreciate you guys helping with the speed limit, because we've been here before a year or so ago and spoke to City Council. The speed limit is 45 right as you turn in headed to Walmart, because we are a cut through for Walmart. My main concern is you've got 104 townhomes with at least 104 more cars. Times 2, you're going to have 208 cars, and just like she was saying, where are they going to park? Because you've got a one-car garage, and we know they're going to be on the site. We know that they're going to be everywhere. But the speed limit needs to be lowered in that area, whether whether these are built or not. I'm afraid we have seen so many car accidents over the years. People run the stop sign at the end of James Farm Road that goes onto Jane Sowers Road. We've seen so many accidents. It's a racetrack. You wouldn't believe all the cars and motorcycles that race on that road. And it's just, if you're mowing the yard, your life's in danger. If you are getting your mail out of the mailbox, you have to wait until you can get the mail out of the mailbox. Just getting in and out of your driveway is, especially getting out, is, you're taking your life into your own hands. I just can't believe it, because when we moved there, we could walk to the end of the road and back and never meet a car. But we do need help with law enforcement, whether they annex us into the city or keep us in the county, we hope. But we need some help on that road. Thank you for letting me share my feelings. And please consider you're just adding more and more traffic on our road, and it's dangerous. And one other thing, the school buses we have now, we're going to have 3 bus stops on that road with the new developments that are at Sullivan Farms. And I am so afraid that one of those kids is going to get run over because they're out there so early in the morning. It's still dark in the wintertime. So we need some help with the speed limit and the enforcement on that road for the kids. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And just to respond to one thing, we don't have any right to annex your property. So I think Lydia had said maybe, yeah, but just, yes. I got to stop right now while I've got it on my mind. I apologize. I'll close the public hearing and then we'll discuss this further. But John Gallagher is here tonight, and he's the new assistant police chief, and he's just as important as those other 3 or 100 people that I mentioned. Will you please stand and let us recognize you? Been with us a long time, and Chief Only and the manager have talked about that, and we're so proud of you and your efforts for our community and what you'll continue to do for us. So I apologize. That always happens when you try to single somebody out. There's the one that you forget that is probably more hurt or concerned than the ones that you recognize. So I'm glad you're here, and I didn't want to miss that
Y'all
opportunity.
did hear that name, so y'all know y'all can call him directly. He's the assistant chief now.
Yeah. Okay. What discussion is there or what questions do you have of Mr. Lamack? Yeah.
I ask one question. Sir, I'm sorry.
Mr. Lamack?
Question to this gentleman. I apologize. I forgot your name. Mr. Lamack. All right, Mr. Lamack, let's talk about Jane Sowers Road just a minute. You're going to have an entrance off of Jane Sowers Road?
That's correct.
From the north?
Correct.
Okay. Lady said earlier that Jane Sowers Road is a cut through to Walmart, and she's exactly right about that. Because we use it often, my wife and I. And you've committed to approaching the DOT about lowering the speed limit on James Farm Road, and I appreciate that. Should the DOT come back in a traffic impact analysis with a de-acceleration lane on James Sowers Road, could you commit to be agreeable to that and help them assist?
Yes, if they come back with that.
Okay.
And I actually had a question for Chief Only.
Chief?
Since we're talking about traffic out there, I take my grandson to Cloverleaf, and so I see it, I get it, and I do understand your concerns. So when you're talking about James Farm Road, do you have a lot of calls out that way already, or how do you feel about all of this? Do you have a lot of calls out there right now?
We have only annexed, the city's only annexed properties over across the street. We haven't got any traffic complaints from out there. I mean, we've had calls for service at the new properties. I talked to Mr. Lamack, and I've joined him with sending a letter to DOT to try to help him get the speed reduced on James Farm Road. But as far as traffic, we don't have any property out there where we're going to do any type of traffic enforcement. With these new properties out there, the more city gets where it butts up to that road, then we can start addressing some of their traffic concerns out there.
Thank you. And I wanted to ask that because when you're out there, it is a lot of traffic. And especially when the school buses are coming through and the kids are leaving and coming in and out. There's new townhouses down the street. There's that new development there. So it is a lot going on out there. But I do need it for them to hear that we're open and we understand it. And hopefully they will get that speed limit reduced. I'm seriously surprised that that speed limit is still 45. But thank you for letting us know that too.
I have a question, sir. We heard from the residents that they're concerned about the traffic. I am concerned about the traffic. I'm concerned about the safety of the children, the family. So I just want to say to you that if DOT has challenged you to do whatever it takes to get this part completed, I hope that you would take into great consideration that the safety comes first and the welfare of our children and for their families. So you're saying here tonight that you're going to do what you can. I want you to let the people know that you will continue this battle, and that will be one priority over whatever else is needed, that this traffic needs to be addressed first.
Well, number one, our intention is to see the request for the speed limit reduction through to the end. And hopefully there's a lot of neighbors that will sign up on the petition as well. Because the conversation we had with them is you can approach DOT individually, but they're not going to hear you unless you have a lot of voices. Number two, the requirement for the TIA is a pretty substantial requirement and review by, number one, the city staff, number two, the NCDOT, and these are two NCDOT roads. And they will require whatever they feel is deemed to make this area safe, or this new development, which could be a deceleration lane. There could be a number of things that come up during that process.
And the bottom line, no matter what a good guy Mr. Lamack happens to be, if he doesn't do what the DOT says, they won't be building any townhomes out there.
Right.
I understand that. I do. It's your building. You and the community is connected together. So what you do to share with them the support that you are really trying, and it's up to the community themselves to be a part of this solution. You can't do it alone. And I am for this, for the growth, but I hope that everybody realizes how important it is. If you want safety, you got to be a part of the solution. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
I have a question. What's your price point on your townhouses?
That's still in motion as to what.
Well, because I heard you say about, I think that's our thing here in Statesville. We're trying to make sure that, we want our policemen, our firemen, to be able to afford the housing. So that's why I was asking. Okay.
And just to get to that point, so we do not build, we develop.
Okay.
So there will be a builder involved in this project. And to a large extent, they will set the price point. But again, based on the size of the units, 1,400 to 1,700 square feet, single car garage, well, okay. I lost my thought.
Thank you. Mr. Jones, you had?
I was going to make a motion if we're to that point.
Okay, and if we have to have a consistency statement.
Yep.
And okay, you've got it. All
Yep.
right.
So I make a motion to approve this rezoning request subject to the 15 conditions as defined by the staff. In this approval and request is also deemed an amendment to the city's comprehensive land use plan. The change in conditions that the planning board has taken into consideration in this council in amending the zoning ordinance to meet the development needs of the community are as follows. The 2045 Land Development Plan projects the property as suitable complete neighborhood 2, shows in Tier 2 growth area. In addition, this parcel also is located in the Jane Sowers North Strategic Focus Area according to the Land Development Plan. The complete neighborhood 2 calls for a mix of housing types, including single-family homes, patio homes, townhomes, and small multifamily developments.
Second.
Motion and a second by Ms. Allison. Any discussion?
I support the motion. I mean, given the fact that you got R10 southwest of it and R5 to the southwest of it and R5 multifamily directly south of it, it only makes sense to continue the pattern of growth out there, and I've come to believe that we got to accept this type of development in areas that we have control over to avoid spreading too far out in the county and creating conflict with rural communities. So I support the motion.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? If not, will all in favor please say aye?
Aye.
Or any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. The next item, 13, is to consider passing the first reading of rezoning request ZC 25-10 for the River Hills PUD for a major amendment to the approved concept plan. Mr. Calder.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. As you remember, this the River Hill Plan Unit Development has come to you before, and what this will be is an amendment to the concept plan tonight request. It's coming to you. The applicant is Mr. Robert Bowman from Bowman Development Group. It consists of 107 acres, and the change he's wanting to make is he is wanting to amend the concept plan to where it would allow him to remove 94 townhomes and replace those with 57 single-family homes. And as you can see, you know, the property is in the hash marks here. It's quite a bit of property. Right here is Energy United, to give you an idea of where we're at. And this is River Hill Road, and this would be Broad Street right here. As with all conditional requests, it will be tied to the concept plan and the conditions imposed. Much of these, and really most of these conditions, are carried over from the original approval. They did have a community meeting, which is required, on May 14th, 2025, and we didn't have any citizens to show up. I was present at that meeting to represent the city. So the main question here, I'm sure you're asking, is what's changing? You know, so just to make it simple, got a little chart here. Before today, the approval was on the left side here. If you're looking at single-family homes, they were approved for a range of 142 to 172 units. And now what is proposed or asking for is to add 57 more single-family homes to that. So the range goes up to 197 to 229. With the cottage homes, before today was 22 to 34. And then there's an addition of 9 units in there for 18 to 43. With the townhomes, you had 94, so we're going to take those out for a drop of 94 units. Your live-work units and your retail floor space out front there on Highway 64 will remain the same. It's not going to change. And here what you're looking at is the concept plan, 2 different concept plans. The one on the left with the red lettering is before, and the one on the right with the blue lettering is now, what's proposed now. So the main thing is this circle here in the red. That's where the 94 townhomes used to be, and it had an alley in there. Over here in the blue is where the 57 single-family homes will be. They've took out one alley. And as you can see, the layout is pretty much the same, just replacing townhomes with single-family. And if we look at the concept as a whole, the concept plan as a whole, what I'm pointing out here is you still have a diversity of options of housing. He's still going to build the cottages right here, and they will have alleys in there. Still over here in the red, we're still going to have the commercial, retail, and we're going to have the live-work units that he's going to build for us. Also, right here, you'll have additional single-family homes that he's requesting, and then everything else out here is single-family. It would be nice to have the townhomes, but if we can't, you still have a mixture. It's not quite as big of a mixture, but it's a mixture. The 2045 Land Development Plan recommends this area as a complete neighborhood 2, which we feel it does meet that definition. It's also a Tier 2 growth area, so all the utilities are there and primed for development. The city of Statesville will provide sewer. Iredell Water Corporation provides the water. Energy United will be the electric provider. And these are the conditions. You have 10 conditions, and basically all of them are left over from what was approved originally. The one I've highlighted, number 9, is the one that would handle the change that he is requesting. And since we met for pre-agenda the other day, Leah has worked on this and reworded it to tighten it up and make it, to where it does address some of the concerns that we had when we originally looked at it. And basically what that's doing is allowing him to build the 57 single-family homes in place of the townhomes, but first has to basically show that he's made an effort to apply for financing of the project through at least 2 reputable lenders. The development shall be, if it gets turned down from those lending agencies, then after showing proof, you can do the 57 single-family homes. And of course, those plans would have to go through TRC, as always, for approval. Staff recommendation would be the fact that although this amendment does take away some townhomes like we talked about, we feel like it does still provide a diversity in housing options through single-family homes, cottage homes, and live-work units. The project will also maintain retail along the highway up front. Therefore, staff does recommend favorable contingent upon the conditions listed on the concept plan. And at this time, I would be happy to take any questions.
The agenda didn't say this, but this is also a public hearing, so we'll be conducting a public hearing when Herman's presentation is complete. Okay. Let's open the public hearing. And Mr. Bowman had signed up to speak, so we'll hear from Mr. Bowman. He's the...
Good evening again for the 3rd time. Sorry I'm back again, but the good news is we do own the land, so we're going to do something with it. It's not something that is just, a paper deal. Quick history. When we got this approved originally for apartments in addition to the single-family homes, right after that, I had 3 apartment developers who wanted in there, and they all went away. The market just evaporated for Statesville. After that, so I said, all right, we'll get rid of the apartments. And then once we did that, I was able to get one national builder under contract. And usually when they go under contract, it's a 90-day due diligence period, when what they do is put their package, or they call it their book, together, where they put their comparable sales, and so they can sell to their team that this is a project that will be viable. And I lost the national builder because he said there's no comparables for townhomes. There may be a few being built somewhere, but there was not enough of a market for them to sell that. They also told me, unfortunately, that there was no market for the single family. And they're all blaming the discounting of $75,000 a home at Sullivan Farm. So, that hasn't gone away. We expect it to go away, hopefully in the next 6 to 9 months. But at this point, the market has not improved. Builders are kind of like pack animals. They all run away when they're nervous, and then all of a sudden they realize, hey, I don't have anything going on building, and they'll come back. So we're confident that the market will be there. Quickly, I have 22 builder relationships over on my almost 40 years, and I've gone to every 22 of them, expanded it to 25, and still don't have any offers on the property. So it's an ongoing thing. And I started as a broker, and I've always been able to sell my own stuff. But in this case, I actually hired a third-party broker 2 months ago to put it out regionally and nationally, because I'm just kind of shocked at this point. I've been a pioneer before. I was a pioneer in Huntersville with the first T&D, traditional neighborhood development, building the first townhomes really in the suburbs. And then it grew to Cornelius, and then you see them all over Mooresville. I thought the timing was right, but it seems like we're just a little early. But what this allows me to do tonight is to have the flexibility. I'm not going away from trying to sell the townhomes, but I want to have the flexibility, if it's a definite no amongst any builder I would get, that I could convert it to the 40-foot lots. But again, that is more of an affordable product too. That's a smaller house. Having 60-foot lots, 50-foot lots, and 40-foot lots, and then the cottage lots, gives us 4 different single-family products plus the live-work units. So we're just asking for flexibility. I hope this is my last time back, but I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I'll close the public hearing, then we'll see if there are any questions for Mr. Calder or Mr. Bowman, and then we'll move forward.
Have a question, Mr. Calder, please, sir. Okay. I'm not going to apologize for putting you on the spot, Mr. Calder, because I do it all the time. My apologies are becoming somewhat meaningless. So, I'm not the biggest advocate for PUD. I've expressed that, although that is the ordinance, and I feel bound to support the ordinance if it meets the criteria. This is the second time that we've amended this. Are you confident with the variety of houses and the work home atmosphere that they're trying to create? We still meet the ordinance to your satisfaction for a PUD? We're not compromising that ordinance.
That's a good question. I know it's come up before. Yes, really the way our ordinance defines a PUD is that you have to have a residential component and a retail component. So he does have both those components to meet the PUD definition. And it's actually, not just one residential component. You've got, as he pointed out, the different lot widths for the single family. Then you have the cottage homes and the live-work units. So you've got some diversity there, even, which is over and above what we asked for. So I do feel like it meets that.
Okay, so we're going to leave him some flexibility in here in regard to the 57 homes versus the cottage homes. Is that?
Townhouse.
Right, okay. Okay, all right.
Yeah, a little flexibility, and I like the way Leah reworded our condition, because it's important to point out that she did, sort of put some due diligence in there on his part. We're not just taking his word, and Nature's a great guy, but, for business, you need more than just words sometimes. You need, right. And what we're doing here is saying, okay, prove to us that you've applied for financing at least 2 times with a reputable lender, been turned down. Then we will allow the 57 single-family homes.
I have a question. Understand the economy. Nobody knows it's going to flip up or flip down. That's something that we have no control over. I'm grateful for the fact that you hanging in there with it and you own the property. We don't own it, you own it. And with that being said, you're willing to take a chance and helping change the quality of life for many people. I am impressed with that. Some people would just shut it down, but nevertheless, we know that, as I said, the economy, and knowing that there are a change in the single home residents, it just require many people to be able, other people to be able to afford or try to maintain home ownership. So, and workforce is very important, and our seniors is included. So you have a combination of different groups that's very important living in a community and have that opportunity to do so. So I appreciate the effort, you're not giving up. I like to see that the next time you come with us that everything would be in order,
Right.
Third time is a charm.
I hope so. And really, this is the first attempt at an entry-level traditional neighborhood development. And builders were, didn't want to do it when I did Vermillion 27 years ago. They didn't like that. They wanted to come in and just build the lowest denominator, Lennar, Greenbrier. I mean, that's what they're looking to do in Statesville, and that's what they see this market as. So it's been a little bit of a struggle, but we're not going to give up on the design. And it's now down to like 2.5 units an acre. So it's just a little bit better quality design. They're always looking for the lowest denominator, how to just turn that profit, and we're not going to give up on it.
Well, I'll make a motion if it's time for a motion.
All right, and does this have a consistency? Yes. Do you want to read that, or would you, that's the consistency, it's, yep.
Yeah, I'll read it if it needs to be read.
It does need to be.
And I will, and I'd like to make a motion that I approve the readings. The 2045 Land Development Plan project, the property as suitable for the complete neighborhood too. Residents should be traditional neighborhood designed with shorter block length, pedestrian pathway, and a variety of housing choices adjacent to the commercial center of Knox. Streets with sidewalks, streets, trees, bikes, paths, and pedestrian trails should be incorporated. The concept plan does include retail along Moxville Highway, and it appears to meet the overall mix of uses. Collectively, walkability, and defined complete neighborhood too. Overall, this project should meet the character and the intent of the 2045 Land Development Plan and add another diverse housing choice in the area.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll make the second with a comment. Number one, when I originally saw this come back up, I was like, daggum. I was on the edge because I was fearful, like Mr. Johnson, is that we're going to violate the PUD. And once I got educated by the staff that I needed to be corrected, that the PUD was good as long as we had the commercial and we had the mixed housing in there. So I went and did a little more homework. And yes, City of Statesville, per the Charlotte Multiple Listing Service, had 18 townhomes transacted in the last year. So that's pretty low volume. Also looked at the housing market. From April at the high, the median was 320 and has dropped to June to 305. So the market is in somewhat trending down, but as Ms. Allison noted, the economy, it's difficult to time and there's peaks and valleys. So I understand the reason behind the request, and I do not think that we're violating the intent of the PUD. So that's why I'm supporting this request.
Thank you.
Is there further discussion? If not,
Add
I'm sorry.
We're always looking for affordable housing, and I know that when we originally started having this conversation, that was a big part of this deal. We know that Statesville is a different market. We know that the economy throughout the country has changed. I hope And I'm glad that the staff did the work to try to make sure that we may be able to get those townhouses back in there, because I think that's critically important to our community. I hope that we get those done. Like I said, you never know what the economy is going to do or what the market is going to do, but I do want you to strongly consider and really work diligently to try to get those townhomes back in there, because those were the workforce development houses that we really, really needed. We particularly need them in that area. And I know for me, at the beginning of this project with the PUD, that was the critical piece of that for us wanting that out there, or wanting that development to be approved out there with so many. It was a big development, and the community was very concerned about it. I know that was one of the reasons that I voted for it in the, at the beginning of it. So I hope that as we work through this, that those things work out. I know Herman and the staff will work hard to get it done. I kind of struggle with the fact that we were taking them out and how this made our PUD look as a whole. And looking at that diverse housing, it kind of all looks like single-family houses at this time. And that price point is just going to be different. It's going to be different for our community. And we want to take care of the residents that live here. We have done those studies in the past. We kind of know where those price points are. So I thank you for considering that. Thank you for working with us. And Herman, I hope that you guys can really work to get that done.
There's a motion and second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay. I think we're clear on the division, 6-1 and JAP. All right. Now, item 14 is to conduct a public hearing and consider approving a revised development agreement for this same project. Ms. Ashley.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. I'll have a little bit of repeat information since this is the development agreement to follow up to the River Hills PUD, so I'll try to go through that a little more quickly. This is the plan Herman showed you, kind of told you the difference where they were wanting to take out the 94 townhomes, replace them with the 57 single-family homes. Just reminding you the PUD does have several components, commercial and some diverse housing choices, and Herman again pointed that out in his rezoning presentation. With the development agreement, when you do a PUD, which is a planned unit development, our code requires a development agreement to follow that. And so with this plan, the concept plan that you've been submitted, what it actually indicates is 263 single-family homes. That includes the 34 cottage homes and the 6 live-work. They also have 2 commercial buildings, and that's where the 6 live-work units make up the 46,400 square feet. However, with the conditions, they are allowed to have up to 229 single-family homes, up to 43 cottage units, and 18 live-work units. So if the rezoning is approved, the development agreement may need to be amended, especially with the planning board's recommendation to allow flexibility with the townhomes. So a couple of things the development agreement does. It is tied to the concept plan. In this development agreement, it's a term of 10 years. The permitted uses for the 2 commercial buildings that you saw on the site plan are limited to what uses we allow in our B1 and B2 districts. Iredell Water is providing the water service. However, if we need it for the fighting fires, then it will require city service. Sewer, the city reserves capacity. The original plan, it was around 53,000 gallons per day. With this, it's 9128. And the developer is responsible for designing and constructing the internal lines and doing a study on the upgrade of the external sewer system. And the reason I want to go back to the sewer capacity is with this flexibility, whether you go townhomes or whether you go single family, staff would recommend that you take the maximum gallons per day as the number to be used in the development agreement. Also, we look at public streets. They are to be built to city standards. They're offering a 1-year warranty date from date of acceptance as part of that development agreement. It does tell you that the street trees will be maintained by the HOA along with the walking paths and open space, along with alleys. There could be some situations where that if it reverts back to townhomes, you may have alleys, and it just clarifies who maintains those and who will provide trash service for that. So it kind of outlines that. The schedule's also been updated where you see 2 phases, and I'll show you a map of how it's divided into the phases. That's usually tentative, but it does give you some good idea of how they're going to construct the project or plan to. And phase 1 projected 2026, 2027, phase 2 around 2027, 2028. One thing I want to point out is that the secondary access point to River Hill, that will be required as part of phase 1. That just ensures that we have that second entrance for the development. And a couple changes in this development agreement that you saw that we've talked about is they are removing the multifamily language, replacing it with single-family homes, removing the multifamily from the permitted uses, and you'll see this development agreement is several pages long, so there's a lot of information in there. We do talk about updating the sewer demand using the larger number. We also talked about updating that development schedule. We updated the annexation language because it has been annexed since the first approval. And one of the things that they removed because they were removing townhomes was the decorative garage doors. So I don't know if that's something you want to put back in if they're going to do townhomes. That may be a question you may have of Mr. Bowman. Just to show you, this is a picture of the development with the purple or pinkish purple up there. That's phase 1 of the project, and you'll see to the north up there that they do have, this was the second entrance. So they got one here and then one up there as part of phase 1. So they're meeting that condition of the development agreement. This was just a little different map. I thought it showed you the phases a little bit better, but what's in the red would be phase 1, everything else phase 2. And staff's recommendation would be approval of development agreement. That's contingent upon this amended rezoning request being granted that you did with the first reading. The planning board did recommend allowing flexibility for switching townhomes to single family. And if council approves that, we would need to work on revising the development agreement to accommodate that language. That's going to take us a little while. We weren't able to do all that tonight to get you a clean version. Would also want the developer to have a chance to look at that. So I'd recommend maybe approving the first reading, but having us bring the revised final copy back for the second reading. And then there's a question about the garage doors for the townhomes. If you feel like that's important, want to add it back in, or question for the developer. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
I guess this might be for Leah, but regarding the garage doors on townhomes, could we simply say in the development agreement, should he go back to townhomes, that you would go back to the original?
I think that's a question that we need to ask the
He's
developer.
not necessarily agreeing to that.
Okay.
The garage door issue was really for the single family. Our townhomes are not front-loaded.
Okay.
So the garage doors were all off alleys. That's why you might have 18 townhomes up here, but rarely are they ones facing the public street.
Correct.
The way we build them. We did find out that a lot of the builders, they're not doing the snout house garages, but they do have some plans where their garages need to move forward, sometimes 60, 80 inches. So we wanted to eliminate that, so we had some flexibility. So it's getting rid of the garage doors from the single family, and the townhomes, they're all rear loaded. And we can correct that before the second reading.
All right. So the request from both the developer and the staff is that we get comfortable with it as it is and let them, and pass first reading, we do this frequently, and then we can put in the final language based on the revisions at our second reading, and then that would get this going.
I have one question.
Oh, and let me.
As it relates to the term, Ms. Ashley, if it goes beyond 10 years, what happens to the development agreement?
It should be renewed before that time period.
I might be showing ignorance here,
Yeah.
but I got one question on the sewer capacity. I think you said originally 52,000 gallons a day, and make sure we're right, you upped it to about 91,000, is that correct? At the completion of the project, I know we have to go ahead and earmark that, but at the completion of the project, if it's less than the 91,000, we can claw that back.
That's my understanding, right, Bill? Okay, yes.
Let's conduct the public hearing, since I think we haven't done that yet. I'm going to open the public hearing. No one was listed to speak. Assuming that's okay, we can hear from Mr. Bowman if we need to. Questions. I'm going to close the public hearing and ask the council if there are any questions for staff or Mr. Bowman.
I have a question. I guess I'm sitting here and I'm listening, and this is your third time coming to us. So my question to you is, I see the schedule that your proposed schedule is you're starting in 26, 27. Is that something that's, I guess with the issues that you're having, is that something that is going to be an issue where you're going to have to come back, or is?
No, we're pretty far along on the engineering. We've probably invested almost $400,000 in the engineering. So if we do find a builder in a reasonable amount of time, it would probably take them 120 days, probably 90 days due diligence, and 30 days to close. And during that time period, the plan should be approved by your engineering department. So if we get a builder, we're probably 4 months away from starting.
Thank you.
All right. This is, and so Sherry, do you need, you still need some guidance on the garage doors, or is there?
We'll work on that.
Okay, all right. All right, so then I guess we could entertain a motion to approve first reading. I guess it's a first reading.
So moved.
All right, of the revised development agreement for the PUD. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, further discussion? If not, all in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? All right, motion carries 6-1. Thank you. Chief Only. Item 15 is to consider approving an ordinance to regulate begging, panhandling, or soliciting contributions.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. As we discussed at the pre-agenda meeting, we've had a lot of complaints this summer about solicitors coming door to door. They seem this year to be more aggressive for whatever reason. So one of the things staff and I started doing is looking into other cities around us. What are they doing? And we found that we were one of the rare ones that didn't have an ordinance in place requiring them to go through any type of permit process. So I think we looked at several, and we kind of focused on the one that, similar to the one Hickory's used, where basically we'll require anyone soliciting to residences within the city to come and apply for a permit through the police department. They'll pay an application fee. We'll do a background on them, verify their company, and issue them a weatherproof card with their photo on it that they'll be required to display and have on their person anytime they're out going door to door. The new ordinance also prevents them from coming on properties that are already marked no trespassing or no solicitation. One of the things we've talked about is an enforcement option as we go forward with it. If it's approved, anytime we encounter someone, it'll be a first time, will be a warning. Our dispatch system allows us to be able to enter their information. So if they violate it a second time, then they'll start being charged with the violation of the ordinance. The fee component to this to get a permit was, we discussed. I can tell you, we've looked across the state, and it ranges from $15 to $200, depending on the city. Hickory, Gastonia do 15, Mooresville does 100. I think just looking at the equipment we'll need to purchase to print these IDs, the computer, things like that, my suggestion is $50, I think, is a reasonable fee to cover the cost of materials and equipment associated with the issuance of a permit. I think with that, I'll try to answer any questions.
Sir, thank you very much for your efforts on this. Are there questions for the chief?
Chief, you satisfied that $50 will cover the initial capital cost of the equipment and any staff time that you'd have involved?
It's very muddy water on staff time. There's things that we can charge and can't charge for, and there's no delineation about what we can and can't. It says it has to be reasonable. We know our upfront cost is going to be and I'm giving you a rough figure, $5,000. But we don't know how many permits, what it's going to look like issuing these permits. I mean, it'll take us 100 permits at that to get our initial cost back.
Right.
And just $50 to me sounds reasonable.
Reasonable.
And just kind of gives us, I think, the biggest part of the capability for the city to get most of those funds
But
back.
if that proved not to be adequate, you could come back to us.
Yes, yeah, and it's going to be on the fee schedule that you all vote on every year, so we can adjust it as according. I mean, if it's higher and we're getting more, we can come back and tell you we don't need as much or vice versa.
Is there a reason that we didn't stick with the $100 that Mooresville did? We're in the same county. Would it just not be more uniform to just do the 100 and keep it moving?
There's no reason other than I don't feel like I can justify that cost. I mean, I'm just trying to look at what other cities are doing, and I feel comfortable with 50 if I get put on the spot to show, what are we using that money to go towards, what cost did it cover?
I feel like they're going to keep coming here if we charge 50 and they charge 100. They're going to come here first. So it's okay. I was just curious.
Well, council advised us earlier that the permit fee, I think, has to closely reflect the cost involved. Is that right?
Does. That's legally what our fees have to be. They have to very closely mirror what our actual cost in running the program is going to be.
We can run it for a year, Chief, and if your estimation that $50 closely mirrors your cost, we can leave it alone. If not, you come back and tell us and we can raise it.
Yes, sir. And one other thing too, just so you know, this ordinance does not affect any nonprofit located in the city of Statesville or Iredell County. One of the things that this will also assist us with is the people that will show up at intersections with buckets from outside of Iredell County soliciting funds will now have some teeth in our ordinance to be able to deal with those individuals and have them move along.
Chief Olin, I appreciate the fact that we're making this move. I think it's necessary for our city, but I respect the fact that you have thought of this diligently, and I'm sure that when you need us and we have to come back, you will, and I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, is there a motion that we approve?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 16 is to consider appointing 3 regular members and 1 alternate member to the planning board. There are 3 current regular members, Mark Tart, Tammy White, and Roger Bachek, who would like to be reappointed. Laurie Brown, the alternate member, does not wish to continue to serve. You see below, there are 11 folks that would serve, 3 of whom are White, Tart, and Bachek. Are there nominations? Let's start with the 3 regular appointments first. Are there nominations for that? Oh,
Mr. Mayor, one thing I wanted to point out is that we found out late in the process that John Furlow, the number 1 person on the list, is currently serving on another board, and we usually don't like to have people serving more than 1 board, so we might want to take his name off of there.
Take him off, I think. Thank you very much for that.
Well,
Mayor, I'd like to make 2 nominations. Mark Tart and Corey Sloan. Corey Sloan.
All right, Mark Tart and Corey Sloan have been nominated. Are there other nominations? Again, this is for the 3 positions as I guess what we call regular members to the planning board.
I'll nominate, can't see the name now, Roger Bachek. And the alternate would be Looker.
Well, we're going to wait on the alternate. We're going to try to keep it separate and do the regular.
Oh, you're going to, okay.
Kim, did you have another one?
I was going to nominate Bachek.
All right, so far we've got Corey Sloan, Mark Tart, Roger Bachek. Are there other nominations?
I'd nominate Tammy White.
Okay. Are there others? Then let's.
Darius Rooker.
Who was the other name?
Darren Rucker. All right, now we have Corey Sloan, Darren Rucker, Tammy White, Mark Tart, Roger Bacek, from which we can select three. Okay, so let's do that. You may vote for three. Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, there may be other nominations. Okay, if that's good, once you get your sheet, I'll read them out again and just pick up to three from the five that I'm going to give you.
Up to three. We need some more.
Yeah, go that way. Give those three one if you can, Emily. All right, please, the five that you can choose from are Mark Tart, Tammy White, Roger Bacek, Corey Sloan, and Darren Rucker. And you don't have to vote for three, but you can vote for up to three. Then we'll pass on to Price Waterhouse down there and see how that comes out.
Right.
All right, while we're doing that, after you've, and sign your name, please. All right, yeah, pass those down,
There's one
please.
more, and I'll get it marked.
All right, now, well, I guess we got to see who wins to see, right, okay. Let's do this while we're tabulating. Let's go to, turn your page and let's go to, Jap, can you pass those to Leah, please?
Yeah.
Or David's got them. All right, it's going to take her a minute, so let's turn to the design review page. And we have two design review members. There are two that are up. One is Rebecca Jones, who is not seeking reappointment. The other is John Marshall, who is seeking to serve another term. If you look below, we have Todd Lang, John Marshall, Elena Salazzo, and Scott Zanotti. And I think Zanotti said that if elected to this board, he'd rather serve on this one than the Board of Adjustment.
Yes, sir.
So I would say with only four for two positions, why don't we put them all in play and you can vote for up to two? And again, I'll do the same thing, Emily, if you want to pass those out, and we'll ask
Pick two.
Steve, you get a sheet? I got one. Got it? More than enough, really.
That part. Go pass them down.
No.
Yep.
All right, why don't we pick one and then pick two from those three?
Yeah, so that's one, and then,
He'd be in it, and they said only there's two. Got one that was outright winner, then three, and the next three died. Oh, yeah, I'll tell you what, let's do. All right,
I'm coming.
no, you're good on that one.
Okay.
Okay, on the planning board, you have elected Roger Bacek, all right? Mark Tart, Corey Sloan, and Darren Rucker received the same amount. So what I'm going to suggest is that we'll vote for two out of those three. And those will be the top two will be the regular vote members, and the third one of those three will become the alternate member. And I'll review that when you get them.
Those three are Mark Tart.
Everybody, we need to vote for two on the design review. Okay.
Mayor, you might need to mention the names again.
I'm confused now.
All right, does everybody have their second ballot for the planning board? All right, so please vote for up to two between Mark Tart, Corey Sloan, and Darren Rucker. And by agreement, the top two will become the regular members and the third person will become the alternate. I'm going to go.
I didn't sign it, but.
Yeah, we missed this one. Here you go. Mine. You bought any chickens? You bought any chickens? Next question, would you close down the fence? Good.
No.
As a family member passed, and he's in the military. Shh.
April messing up back there.
I don't have everybody's planning board ballots. Who didn't turn in a ballot for planning board?
Me?
You have
Last round.
On round two, who didn't turn in a planning board ballot for round two?
I did.
Got extras over here. Sorry. They were passed down.
I think next year we better hire Ernst & Young to do the tabulating. Price Waterhouse is kind of falling down on the job here.
We're doing
Okay,
excellent over here. Thank you.
okay, this says planning board, but this meant to be design review, right? Okay, Madam Clerk. Anyway, you have selected John Marshall and Elena Salazzo as the two members for the design review. Well, okay. Well, somebody gave an extra vote of support for Roger Bacek, who was already in. And otherwise we had a dead tie for all three of the others. So it wouldn't solve anything if that one.
Can we
person-
nominate two to the regular members and one as the alternate?
When you become mayor, you can do that. I'm going to try to think of somebody else.
No, you didn't. You got me.
Trying to be helpful.
Hey, put your name on the ballot.
Filing period's still open.
Hey,
You never know.
I support that.
I support that.
Well, let's see. Why don't we just, we could do that. We could also just vote, let's see, there were
It's three.
Oh, there weren't, okay, so some people didn't vote for two because there could have been 18 votes and there were only 13.
Let's get this right, folks.
Do what?
I'm just saying, let's vote. Vote for two, not one.
They tried to do it too damn fast.
2 for 1.
Vote, you mean just vote for two of the three?
Yeah.
Well, but that's what we asked people to do, but they didn't. I mean, some people just voted for one, tried the single shot.
Got to vote two.
How do you suggest that we do it? You mean nominate just two?
Just nominate two.
I think it's up to you, Mayor.
She learns fast,
No, I
sir. She
think-
learns fast.
Yes, she does. I think, let's do it this way and see what happens. Let's keep the same three in there, but just say you've only got one vote and see how that turns out.
Okay. So we're voting for one person.
Voting for one.
What about the alternate?
You're going to vote between
One vote.
Mark Tart, Corey Sloan, and Darren Rucker.
One vote.
One vote.
All righty. There we go.
It is encouraging that we got this many people to choose
It is. It is.
It's very encouraging.
Don't vote for one.
You can't vote for him. He wasn't in the.
Kind of like one of those hanging chads. Yeah.
All right. Did that person get to vote again? Okay, so it still looks as if somebody didn't vote, but it wouldn't make any difference. You have selected Darren Rucker to the second position, Mark Tart to the third position, and Corey Sloan will be the alternate.
Right. Good job, good job.
That's Roger Bachek, Darren Rucker, Mark Tart are the three going forward members of the planning board, and Corey Sloan will be the alternate. Okay, thank you all very much.
Great job.
Now we'll have the city manager's report, and when he completes, Councilmember Wasson and I understand Councilmember Pearson have some board comments they would like to make, so we'll entertain that and any others would like to speak before we adjourn.
Usually on public comment nights, I don't give a true report, but I've handed out to you what I usually would say. The one thing I do want to point out, it's not good news, but found out this morning the sinkhole at Trad and Front Street. A good friend of mine forecasted this, but as we've dug more, we've found more issues, and it's going to push it back probably till the middle of August. So we've got an issue with a water line that we were unable to camera, but it just literally took digging down to find the problem. So I was going to tell you tonight that the project was probably going to be done by the end of July, but it's probably going to be sometime in the middle of August. Don't know a specific date yet, but just wanted to let you know since that's so focal. And if you have any questions about what I've submitted to you, just give me a call.
Great.
All right, thank you, sir. Kim, would you like to? Okay.
I just want to take this moment to make a brief comment in regards. I know we have a lot of people
here in the audience tonight that's running for elected positions. Just want you guys and the board to realize that we have a tough position here, sitting up here. I have been on here for a year and a half, and it's not for the faint at heart. With that being said, I think as a board, as a council, we have to learn to stick together and stand behind one another as we stand behind our staff as well. With that being said, anybody who knows me on this board since I've been here, I'm all about fair housing. I believe in taking care of the citizens of Statesville first. We have a medium household workforce, which includes our policemen, our firemen, our middle-class income, and we have to support them no matter what. There was a vote that was supposed to be had tonight. I'm not sure what happened on our housing agenda. I'm gonna leave that where it's at, but I just felt like it needed to be brought to the table. So you people out here run for elections, please keep in mind, when I say fair housing, I'm not saying raise anybody's taxes. I'm not saying anything like that. I want the housing market to be fair for all citizens of Statesville. So with that being said, I just felt like that's something that needed to be put on the table tonight. Thank you.
I want to piggyback on that and say that since I've been on council here, my top priority has been housing and then the crime, which we've gotten our crime under control. Thank you, Chief Only. Really, really, really working on this housing and trying to get adequate housing across our city. A huge part of that is having our housing partner work with us. We do not have a housing department here in the city. So we count on our partners to work with us to create housing. With that being said, we've had some challenges, and I'm sharing this information because it's kind of gotten a little bit ugly for me personally. We've had some challenges with Statesville Housing Authority, and I'm just gonna put it out there because they have publicly displayed or accused me of some things and then publicly displayed me on their board, their wall of fame, as being banned from Statesville Housing Authority. So I say this with all due respect for everyone here. I hope that you understand that I would never commit any criminal activity and certainly not commit a crime on Statesville Housing Authority property, which are some of the things that I have been accused of. I would like to publicly say that I have not done any of the things that I have been accused of doing, and I really hope that we can work through our issues with Statesville Housing Authority. We've had a tough time of it, and I'm just gonna leave it there. But as a board, I hope that we all understand that I took this position to work for the citizens of this community. At no point in time do I feel like any quasi-judicial board or any board or organization that we affiliate with should not be working with us in that same kind of advocacy manner. So I'm struggling as a public official here that my family has personally been targeted and myself has personally been targeted by this organization. I don't think it's right and I don't think it's fair because simply what we want to do is work with them. So I'm saying all of this because it is very public, because they have it on their bulletin board in their facility. And people have called and told me that they have seen my name and likeness there. And I received a letter that I was banned, and legal has worked on that. So I want to thank our staff here for trying to support this relationship and fixing these things. I hope that we can work through these things properly and adequately, but I do want to put that out there in the community since it is out there.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.